Hi everybody, and welcome to week 5 of the cookery course, and I hope you're enjoying it and you've tried a few recipes out and you're getting more confident with using less meat. This week we're doing baking, and baking is really quite a tricky one when you're not having dairy and eggs, because that gives it the dairy gives it the kind of moistness, and the eggs give it the lightness. We're also using gluten-free flour, so it's quite a tall order. But I have to say, I'm eating this cake, and it's really delicious. And I made that without any eggs and no butter, and it's made with coconut milk and apples and apple cider vinegar. So, and that in place of the eggs. So I'm giving you some alternatives in all the recipes you've got this week. You can make them with eggs, that's absolutely fine, but you can also add things like chia seeds and water as an alternative choice. The gluten-free flour, I've given you a basic gluten-free flour that I like, which has brown rice, it has quinoa flour, arrowroot and potato starch. I tend to buy all my flours, I store them in something like that, but I buy them from, there we are, that's the quinoa, that's the brown rice, and then we've got arrowroot. I buy them from somewhere called Scoop, and they don't have any packaging. And that's the potato starch. You will find xanthan gum in quite a lot of, it's not in my recipes, but if you're looking at gluten-free recipes, and that gives the texture of the cakes that you cook a kind of elasticity. Kind of sponginess, I suppose, because we don't have the gluten and it's gluten free, and gluten is what we in all the food you get that kind of chewiness, so that's what we're missing, but xanthan gum adds that. So we're doing hot cross buns, yeast. I love it. I love watching yeast work. It's just fascinating. It's like a science experiment. I used to love science, so when you're doing all these recipes, do follow them a little bit to the T, because they're not like the normal cooking. Like when I said at the beginning, be creative, pull this out, add that, be adventurous. You can't really do that with baking because it's exact science, and who knows, why apples puree and apple cider vinegar work like eggs do. I mean, I didn't know that. I mean, it's really fascinating. So follow anything like this without eggs or butter to a T. Be very exact. We've got a brownie recipe. Again, with brownies, you've got to be quite aware of timings. They need to come out when they're still a bit wobbly in the middle, a bit firm around the outside and wobbly in the middle. If you leave them in too long, they just become like a cake, and that's the beauty of them, is their little kind of gooey middle. So that's all about timing. Then I've got a pumpkin, apple and carrot cake, which is gorgeous. You can't really go wrong with that recipe. I've used a wheat flour, but an ancient wheat flour in that recipe. So you can use the gluten-free, but see how you go. It's a cracking recipe, so it works probably quite well with the gluten-free flour. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Sorry, with the wheat flour. But choose something that's not not the white bleached white flour. The raw chocolate biscuits we've got some ginger date brownies, which I've told you about. We've got the carrot cashew nut raw cake. I've done a couple of icings. So a coconut icing, which is really simple. You just get a can of good quality coconut cream. Put it in the fridge overnight so it goes solid, and then you whiz it up with some coconut sugar that's been whizzed again, like icing sugar. You know how you make icing sugar in the Thermomix. Even you can do this in a food processor as well. and you add arrowroot, and it becomes really, really fine. And you just add that to the coconut cream, and it sets. It's brilliant. Coffee, cacao, raw freezer cake. Just make sure you don't eat that too late at night because it keeps you up. That's happened to me. And then a steamed pudding. Now, steamed puddings, it works quite well with gluten-free because it adds a bit of moisture. So you can cook those in a wok with a metal tray in the middle, like that, one of those, and you put that upside down in a wok, or that way, whatever way you like, and you put your cupcakes in the middle, put the lid on, and steam your sponges for 15 to 20 minutes. So really easy. Yeah, cakes and baking. It's a fun thing. You've got a couple of breads on this course. Remember, we did the life-giving bread. We've also done the gluten-free bread. It's a complete staple of mine. I make that and slice it up like the carrot, apple and pumpkin. I make that all the time and have it in the freezer to slice up and toast. So all the recipes I've chosen are kind of, you've got a bit of yeast baking, you've got the gluten-free, you've got the apple, pumpkin, carrot, you've got biscuits, you've got brownies, you've got the frostings, different frostings. So, you're good to go, aren't you? So, I hope you're enjoying it all, and good luck this week, and happy baking. And as they say on the Great British Kitchen, ready, steady, bake. Sue Perkins and Mel, I love them. See you next week. Bye.